morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's going to be a big one today. Talking about the biggest Kiss fan that I know and whether or not I sold my item with Kiss signatures on it. Okay. I'm not really doing this in Kiss makeup today, although I thought about it. That stuff's hard to come by, the true good grease paint. Good morning. And I'm excited about this. And people have been wondering since I posted my video, I guess last week, about being at the Kiss concert. And I had all of the members of Kiss sign that fan that I have. Yeah, it was literally a fan to keep everybody cool. If you're watching this live, you have any questions or continued thoughts as to whether I sold that fan and how much and who is this big Kiss fan, by the way. A lot of people, I think, especially down in Montevideo and Granite Falls, kind of figured it out. Also, if you comment live, we can bring it up on the screen, so it'd be fun to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce who in my world is the biggest Kiss fan I know. Kevin Tabeast.
Good morning.
Anderson Tabeast Funeral Home. It seems we've lost your audio there, Kevin.
I'm not on now?
I'm not, say again.
You can't hear me?
We've lost your audio. How did that happen? Unmute. There we go.
I'm here now.
Oh, what is happening now? You want to back out and then come back in?
We can do that.
Yeah, because I'm not hearing you. Okay. Close out and okay. We'll see if we can get him back. We were talking 2 minutes ago. I'm going to have him log back in. So, Kevin owns Anderson Tabeast Funeral Home. Full disclosure, we're friends from back in Montevideo. His mom did daycare for my daughter. His entire family is a big Kiss fans. But he's the one who started it. Let's see now.
Am I here now?
Can we hear you? We are not hearing you.
I've done nothing different than we did before, Tim.
Not hearing you. Somebody comment. Are you hearing him? You can hear him. Well, what? How did that work?
I don't know.
I can hear him. We can hear. Oh, man. Okay. Give me a second. I'm going to unplug.
Yours is on mute now, Tim.
There?
Can we hear both of us?
I can hear you.
Okay, I can hear you.
What in the world?
I don't know.
20 minutes.
I don't know.
Talking.
I know we did.
Stupid computers.
Technology. Yes.
Kevin is here. Yeah, look at all these. We can hear him. We can hear him.
The worst part is they have to see me.
Oh, Jan, there's another Montevideo friend from back in the day. So, okay, sorry about that. Here we are. Again, to me, you're the biggest Kiss fan I know. But just like when I had the Prince DJ on a few weeks ago, and I said, he's the biggest Prince fan. He's like, oh, in the world of Prince fandom, I'm here, and Prince fans are up here.
Yes.
Are you saying that's similar for you? As far as Kiss fans go,
oh, I'm just a little guy, little fish in the ocean. Yep. I took my wife on her first Kiss cruise, which was Kiss Cruise 5, which was my second Kiss cruise, and she found out that I was normal. She stood next to it. She stood next to an 80-year-old lady going into a Paul Stanley cooking thing, and the lady rolled up her sleeve and showed her Kiss tattoo. So yes, I was normal.
Okay. Speaking of 80-year-old ladies, I mentioned your mom was my daughter's daycare, And back at that time, I didn't know you all real well,
Right.
obviously through that. And I'm like, hey, this family is a little nutty, man. The whole family puts on the makeup and goes
Yep.
to concerts, including mom and dad and the kids. But you started it, right? You were the first in the family in like
I
junior.
was. I was an insecure kid, and as a teenager, tried to find something for my own identity. My grandmother had helped a kid at school, and she told me about the record that he had bought. So I went to the Pomida in Montevideo, grabbed my Kiss Alive album, showed it to Grandma. Is this the right one? Yes, this is the right one. I didn't even realize that there were two albums in there. I listened to one album over and over and over and over, and started wearing Kiss t-shirts when I was in 8th grade, wore one forever. That was what I wore every day. That was my uniform, and that was my identity.
They allowed that at Montevideo.
They allowed that in Montevideo, yes.
When I posted this yesterday as the teaser, you said, "Oh, that's not my best work." But I said, "Well, I can change it." And you're like, "No, there's a story behind it." And what is that story?
So Judy and I were out in New York for the Kiss induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and through some of the events that we've been at, I've befriended a gentleman that works for Kiss and works for Paul Stanley specifically, named Keith LaRue. And Keith said, Kiss is going to be on Jimmy Fallon, but they're doing an unannounced appearance on the Today Show.
Uh-huh.
You should go. And so that's what we did. We had been at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction until 1 a.m. We got up at 4 a.m, get in our cab to take us downtown to stand in line to be in front at the Today Show. And that was my quest. I wanted to meet the band and to get my picture with Gene Simmons.
And there you are.
There we are.
So obviously you met him. Now, who's taking this picture? Some other fan?
Actually, Eric Singer came out with the band. They all had their pens in hand, ready to sign autographs. Eric directed Gene over to Judy and I and said, "You need to go over and talk to those guys." And then I gave my phone to Eric. Eric took our picture, and they went on their way.
Now, for people who don't know, every member of Kiss, Eric Singer
would be the drummer.
Yeah, one of the many, or I should say, one of several.
One of several.
Yeah,
actually, one of 1, 2, 3.
You said that he instructed Gene to go over to you is because you two were wearing makeup.
We were the only ones there that were wearing makeup. Yes. And like I said, it was an unannounced appearance. They were doing something for a group of 4 kids. They do a lot of things for wounded warriors. So the last time they were on the Today Show, that's what they were on for. But this was just something to give them a tease for the Jimmy Fallon show later that evening.
I'm sure you have thousands of photos like these with the band.
Not thousands, but we have several, yes.
This one's from a Kiss cruise.
That's from a Kiss cruise, yes. Kiss Cruise 5.
Have you missed any of the Kiss cruises?
I was on 6 of the 11.
6 of 11.
I was on the very first run, and I was on the very last one.
Okay.
So the story on the very last one is I had a torn retina. And so I had a bubble in my eye, which meant I couldn't fly. And I was going on the Kiss cruise. So that meant that I had to drive from Minneapolis or from Montevideo to LA. Oh. So our oldest son, Carl, knew I needed to drive. So we rented a car and we drove to LA.
Oh my gosh. Now, I don't remember. Is this Carl?
No, that one's Kurt.
Kurt.
And that's at Sioux Falls. We were dead center front row at the Sioux Falls on the end of the road tour.
This one, was this in the Monty paper? I remember
that was in the Sioux Falls paper.
Are you hearing me?
I can hear you.
See, I lost you again. What? Give me.
No, I can't hear you, Tim. You're on mute again.
There.
Now you're back.
Okay. Well, about every 10 minutes, this is going to happen, I guess. Knock on
Okay.
wood. So everybody heard that this was Monty paper,
It was
that
the
picture.
Sioux Falls paper.
Sioux Falls paper. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, even cooler. Now, what was your first live show
So the
that you
first
went
Kiss
to?
concert that I went to was in 1979 at the Met Center. I begged to go to the tour before. Dad said no, no. And finally in 79, Mom got Dad to take me. So I got in the car with my mom and dad. We drove down. We stopped at the Thunderbird Hotel across the street. They stayed in the lounge there, and I walked across the street, went to see Kiss and Judas Priest, and walked back, and we drove home.
Kevin has the coolest parents. Yeah, go.
That was cool. It was.
How about the first time you met them? Again, we got a lot of pictures like this, but
Yeah.
how long did it take before you got to meet them?
So I didn't get to meet the band until they did an in-store appearance at Sam Goody. Would have been in 93, 94, somewhere in there. My brother Jonathan and I went, and it was shortly after the Mall of America had opened. And being from outstate, I didn't understand how all those things work. But you had to be in line early in the morning to get a wristband to actually get in to see Kiss. So when we got there, a couple hours before Kiss was supposed to be at Sam Goody, neither one of us had a wristband. And so I saw a kid that wanted to sell his. He took it off his wrist. They paid him $20. And my brother said, well, what am I going to do? And I, being the older brother, it really wasn't my problem, So I was on a quest. I wanted to meet the band. And my brother actually bought another wristband off of another kid after he had gone through the line and scotch taped it back together, got in line, and went in to meet Kiss as well.
Scandal.
Yeah.
What if Gene and Paul are watching? It's like, wait, I know that guy. They got in scandalously. He's never allowed in again.
Yeah, well.
People might know your brother Jonathan as the drummer for the Church of Cash.
That's correct, yes. He's played in several bands.
Yeah. And so he's done a little collecting as well.
Yes, he has. And he was kind enough. There were many things that I had left at home because I'm, 14 years older than he is. And he was kind enough as he was going through his collection to separate out things that he knew that actually belonged to me. And so those are back in my collection as well.
Did you consult him on the value of that fan that I have?
No, I didn't.
Which, by the way, people have been all week. When are you going to tell us? So what happened? Did you sell it?
Yeah.
I'm going to get to that towards the end of our conversation here. So hang in there. Again, if you have any questions or comments, it occurred to me, what's your band? Those of you watching, like, what's your band that maybe you've seen a few times, or maybe you got to meet? Tell us that story, and we can bring it up on the stream here a little bit. So you've got a lot of collectibles. For one thing, behind you there, tell us about that. Is it a poster?
Well, it's actually a hand-painted backdrop. At the beginning of the End of the Road tour, Kiss didn't have a warm-up band. They had a painter named Garibaldi, and he is a performance painter. And so at the beginning of their tour, they would give the painting to a charity, and the charity would auction it off or sell it or do whatever to raise money for that particular charity. The one that I'm sitting in front of here is one from Milwaukee. They would do a Wounded Warrior auction, a raffle type thing. I bought $75 worth of raffle tickets, and halfway through the concert, my phone buzzes and it says, "You're a winner." And I always knew that I was a winner, but it validated it.
Yeah, we all know that.
Yes. So from that night, then the security is trying to tell us that we need to leave. And I said, no, I'm a winner. I've got a painting. And so then got to see Garibaldi at that point, got a couple of his paintbrushes.
Oh.
So that's part of what this painting was made with. We were flying from Milwaukee to Dayton, Ohio to watch Kiss the following evening. I actually got to meet Garibaldi in the airport, took my picture with him, told him I was the winner of that painting. So when we're sitting in Dayton the next night, he's trying to entice people to buy the tickets. He says the guy that won last night is sitting right there, and so he pointed me out, sitting in the the second row at the concert in Dayton, Ohio.
That's cool. I would think that stuff like that starts to come together, like who you know and other Kiss fans, which reminds me, when you are at a Kiss cruise or you're doing a backstage event like this, when I see your posts, I'm like, surely when Kevin and your wife Judy, when they show up, they've got to go, "Hey, Kevin, Judy, good to see you again." They know you, right?
No, the band does not know us. There are a few people that work for the band that do know us by name. We've made friends with them. One of them is the handler couple for Gene Simmons, all of his meet and greets. Another one, like I mentioned earlier, is the gentleman that works for not only Paul Stanley but works for Kiss. And then Paul's sound tech did know us by name. We had met him when we were in Prague, and that was really a turning point for Judy and I, making all these connections with the band and fans. Is for my 50th birthday, she decided to throw a surprise birthday party for me, and had everybody, our friends that came to our party, wearing Kiss makeup. So even my mom and dad were wearing Kiss makeup. And we went to Prague. I figured as long as we were doing that, I made arrangements so that we were backstage, got to do a sound check with Kiss backstage. I bought Paul's microphone from that night, and so that gave us the opportunity to meet Paul. We met Paul's sound tech, Fran. Unfortunately, Fran died of COVID a couple of years ago, and so that kind of changed that culture as well. But no, the band doesn't know us. The only person, as a former member of Kiss, Bruce Kulick, the guitar player that was on that fan that you had shown, he does know us by name. He and his wife Lisa do call us out and say hello to us. We went out in January to a rock and roll induction into the Las Vegas Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it was truly a genuine smile when Bruce saw us in the audience and saw us out in front ahead of time and came over and talked to Judy and I.
Yeah, Bruce was the one when I did that video. I'm like, honestly, I didn't know Bruce at the time, but tell us about the shirt you're wearing.
Well, I will. So this is a very rare Kiss Revenge Tour concert T-shirt, early '90s. I've only actually seen one of them out in the wild. If you would say, as you go to a concert, I've only seen one of them like this. This one actually belonged to Bruce, and if you look in the K really close, there's actually Bruce's signature on there.
See that? Yep, I can see that. Bruce's signature was probably the most clear on the thing that I had. We got a question here from Damon, who's he loves live music. What does Kevin think about Kiss moving to the virtual realm? Would he attend a virtual Kiss concert? You probably did during COVID, or did they do any like that?
They didn't do any concerts during COVID. In fact, one of the first shows that they did at the end of COVID was the Tribeca Film Festival, when they did the premiere of their A&E special. And that was just a really cool event. It was at Battery Park in New York. There were only 100 pods of 4 tickets that were available. So it was a very, very small event. And you had to sit in these special areas with just chairs. And it was really cool. I just kept pushing the button, and I was one of the fortunate people that got a pod of 4. So Judy and I were going. I've got a friend in New York who's a chiropractor. I messaged him. I said, "Would you like to join us?" And he actually came to my 60th birthday party last year down at the Chippewa County Fair, where we had a Kiss tribute band playing. And he has a vest that lights up, and it has Kiss on the back and lights. And because of that, the producers for the A&E festival saw his vest and said, "You guys need to be in the front." And so they made sure we were in the front row.
Well, and you were in makeup at that show too, weren't you?
No, I was not.
Oh,
but I do happen to have Gene's water bottle from that show. So Gene wraps his water bottles in black plastic, and then he's got the glow-in-the-dark reflective sticker so he can find out where his mic stand is. And that is one of the hottest shows I've ever been at. We were maybe 10 feet from the stage, and Judy actually thought her purse was going to melt. It was that hot from the flames. Unbelievable.
So here's Jan. Oh, again, we went to several concerts at the casino with you, Tim. Yes. One I remember was Casey and the Sunshine Band that we met Casey with, Jan and Larry.
Yes.
Yeah. And Pam, I know when I asked about, well, what's your band? Who do you want to meet? Backstreet Boys, been to 3 concerts and had a meet and greet with the band. I know Pam to be a huge Backstreet Boys fan. And again, with the fan that I have, and by the way, let me call that up here. This was there it is. So right now, we don't know. Is it sitting on my desk? Is it sitting on Kevin's desk? But I got this because I was at a show that the station was representing, and we had those to hand out to the crowd. That was on a 4th of July, again, very hot, and people were fanning themselves. And so there we have Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons, Bruce Kulick, and Eric Carr. Now, it was Eric that caught your attention on this, right? Why?
That is correct. I've been to a lot of concerts. Eric is one of the few KISS members that I never had the chance to meet, and he passed away in 1991.
No.
So I never got to meet Eric, and I never got to meet Mark St. John. Other than that, I've met every person that has played in KISS.
Now, Eric had been with him for...
Yeah, he joined the band in 1980. And what you forget is I always thought of him as the young guy, but he actually, July 12th would have been his 74th birthday. So he's basically Gene's age, a little bit younger than Gene.
Was it heart cancer? Was that the...
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Very rare.
So you go, wow, look, here's an Eric Carr signature that is, they talk about provenance on collectible things or in antiques. Do you have the story behind it? Is that enough provenance? I know Tim. Tim obviously has pictures that he was there and actually got these signatures. Is that enough provenance for this?
That's what made it very interesting to me. And like I said, Eric was one of the guys that I never got to meet, and he was just an amazing guy, loved the fans, and was a great drummer.
Okay, so the people want to know. When you saw this, I said, hey, it wasn't an hour after I put this up, I got an offer from a guy. I didn't say that I knew you, as a friend of mine, or did I? I don't think I did.
You just said it was from a KISS fan. Big
KISS fan.
Yep.
And yeah, we go back
a long ways.
30
some years, yeah.
3 years. And so yeah, that's Kevin. He's the one. They've been wondering now. Because I said, first of all, how much do you think they offered? Second of all, do you think I sold it? Let's start with the sort of like to tell the truth now. Who's going to hold up the fan? Am I still holding it here? Is Kevin holding it? In 3, 2, 1. There it is. Kevin has the fan.
So part of this, the importance to this to me, like I said, is because I know it came from you and I know it was really signed and you were with Eric. That made that special to me that you actually met Eric and were with Eric. The closest that I ever came to meeting Eric, I was at the show earlier that same year in 1988 with my brother-in-law. My mother was there, my wife was there, my sister was there. And I stood standing in the second row, and Eric handed these to my brother-in-law, which is a pair of Eric Carr drumsticks that are actually used at that concert.
They look like they've been.
No, they've been well used.
Now, we are not going to discuss the terms for Kevin's privacy. There were people that said $10,000 and no way he'd sell it. I'm going to tell you, I'd have taken $10,000 without question. It wasn't nearly that much. But for those of you who say, no way, you met them and it's yours, there's no way you'd let it go at any cost. To me, knowing Kevin and how much of a fan he is, and because of his interest in Eric Carr. Look, I happened to be at that show because it was a radio station event. I didn't hate Kiss. That was the first one I had seen live ever, and it was cool. I have photos of being there. I have photos of the fan that show, look, I was there. I met him. I got it. But obviously, it wasn't as important to me because it was sitting in a bin in the basement for how many decades
Mhm.
when I dug it up. And, you know, to know that it would go to a huge Kiss fan and a friend uh, who will probably display it. What are you going to put it on the wall there at the office? What are you going to?
Yeah, no, we're actually in my office. This Kiss painting does hang in my office.
Mhm.
But I'm going to put it next to the drumsticks. It's just a good reminder of that time period, and it's cool because it was everybody signed it during that time period. There are many things that are available now, and Gene and Paul are signing things, and Ace Frehley signing things, but they're with their current signature. This is a vintage signature, and that makes it really special to me.
It's very very notable, the E.
Yep.
But then the like the ARR are very
He was
tiny.
very deliberate when he signed, and his signatures are always the same.
Yeah. So yes, I sold it partially because it was Kevin. What he offered was good for me. Kevin assured me it was a fair price, and I took his word on that. We're not going to get into what that was. Now, if somebody offered you, say, double what you paid, if they see this,
You mean 20,000?
yeah, right, all right. Like, no, I don't want to know. Don't tell me if you would.
No, I haven't sold anything out of my collection. And I've got some very obscure things in my collection.
Including not so long ago, a towel with Gene's fake blood on it, right?
I do have that. I didn't bring that with me today, but that picture that you put up from Sioux Falls.
Yep.
So this is one of the holy grails for a Kiss collector.
This
would be Gene's blood cup. So when he does God of Thunder, he has a little cup like this that's full of, and he got tired of the blood that the Hollywood type blood. So they actually mix this up for him. It's Caro syrup, egg whites, and a whole bunch of stuff. And the guy when I had Gene sign this, we were backstage in Tampa, Florida, and Gene's handler said, "Where'd you get that?" That type of thing. And because normally these go to the guy that buys the bass that night, and apparently Gene's bass wasn't sold that night, and the gentleman that came up to run the confetti, and I was standing in the front row, saw the blood cup sitting there. Kurt and I had seen it sitting there the whole night. We keep poking at each other. I didn't have enough courage to ask anybody to hand it to me. The guy that's running the confetti machine, Judy and I had met when we were in Prague, and so I knew Bob, and Bob looked at me and he reached over and he just handed it to me, and that was that.
When you talk about Gene selling his bass, is that what you're talking about? Did you buy that bass?
I bought that bass. Yes, that was stage played bass on Kiss Cruise 11.
That's amazing. And so what? Do you play it?
No, I don't play it. So as a part of that meet and greet, then if you bought the bass, then we did a lip sync or a karaoke type thing. It was a contest with Gene Simmons. And you were randomly assigned to a group of people. So we had 6 people that were assigned to us. We picked a song. Judy sang the song. I played bass. Another guy played bass. That was what that event was. I purchased a bass a few years back where my sister Allison and Sharon were on the cruise with us. And at that one, you write a song with Gene Simmons. And my wife was taking the notes. She ended up singing the song. I ended up playing bass. A guy wasn't.
Bass player?
No, I'm not a bass player, but you write the song and you play a note with Gene Simmons. It's just a really cool event. And at the end of it, Gene says, get together as a group. This never existed before this last 2 hours. Copyright it. It's yours. But it was my whole family was part of it. So I talked to several of them. Actually, my sister Sharon ended up on stage because one of the guys couldn't hold the note and she sung it out in the audience. And Gene whips his head around and says, who sang that? And Sharon said, well, I did. So he brought her up on stage. And so I talked to some of the other members of that group and they weren't interested, but I did send it and I do have the copyright.
Okay. Just a couple of quick things. I like
Yep.
to try to keep this at a 30 minutes here. But if you missed it, Kevin and Judy, so you're the owners of Anderson Tobias Funeral Home now.
That's correct.
Your office is in Granite.
I have a Granite Falls office, a Montevideo office, and a Dawson office. Our main office is in Montevideo.
If you ever wondered, what will a funeral director ultimately do at the end of his days? Well, I think we know. Is this?
That's real.
Is this legit?
That's a prototype of the kiss casket. Yes.
The kisket. That'd be a kisket.
Yeah, that would be. So
did you buy a pair?
I don't have a pair, but like I told you earlier, I said Bruce knows who we are. So we were at a dinner event where you had supper with Gene Simmons, and it was in Las Vegas. And so we're sitting at a table. I had shown you this earlier, but Eric Singer actually made these candles to set on the tables at the dinner party. And there was a menu and everything. And so this is actually Bruce's menu from that night. He signed it and I got it from him. But at the end of that time, Gene would go around to each table. He'd talk to the members, all the people that were fans there. After Gene had left our area, Judy and I were fortunate to be sitting at a table next to all of the musicians. So Bruce Kulick and his wife and Todd Kearns and Brett Fitz and several of the people that were playing with Gene Simmons were sitting at the table next to us. And Bruce waves me over. He says, Kevin, I got a couple questions for you. So Judy and I we didn't want to intrude on them, but they invited us over. So we went and sat with them. And the first question that Bruce asked me was, do you have a kiss casket? And I said, no, I don't have a kiss casket. I will, but mine will be of a higher quality than the ones that Gene sells.
Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah.
So a one of a kind, a one-off.
Yeah, a one-off.
Yeah, so there it is again, the kiss casket. Very appropriate. Kevin, this has been awesome. I want to toss this up quickly, though. You know Paul Ramo?
I do.
Radio guy, right?
Yep.
So there you go. Just read it. Kevin and Judy are awesome. Kiss is one of my favorite rock bands as well. I've seen them 4 times. First time was at the Civic Center. They put on the best rock and roll show ever. So here my wife has gotten on. Is there any other band more involved with their fans?
Kiss really likes their fans, and they do take good care of their fans. So if I may, let me just share 2 really obscure things that I have in my collection. So one of them, my wife was mortified. So we're at a Gene Simmons event, Rock and Brews, and I've got this, and you can see that little white spot that's there. That is Gene Simmons gum. So while we're getting our picture taken, Gene is putting his gum in his mouth, and we had our picture taken. And not long before, Gene had given a piece of gum out of his mouth to a radio station in Great Britain. They auctioned it off for a charity for $50,000. Now, $50,000. So Kevin goes, Gene, I said, sir, could I trouble you for your gum? And Judy just ran away. She was mortified. And Gene looks at me and he goes, really? And he goes and he puts his fingers in his mouth and he puts it in my hand and I walked away.
I just, you know what? I added a 0 to my fan. You can Venmo me.
So that's one of those obscure things. The other thing that is really important to me is Paul Stanley's fire hat. So I was at a concert in Sioux Falls in 1983. And during the song Firehouse, Paul used to have this hat and he would throw it out into the audience. and I'm tall, and I'm standing in the middle in the front, and I caught it, drug it to the ground, and my sister was kicking everybody, trying to get them off of me, and I ended up with the fire hat.
Now, last chance here. What do you, when you talk about throwing things out in the crowd? In my video, I said I also had a pick. This was not thrown to the crowd. He handed it to me backstage. Is it? Those are probably a dime a dozen.
No, that one has some value.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Why?
Age.
Oh, yeah.
And knowing that it's real.
Yes.
You know.
I mean, obviously, that's a like an embossed.
They are. They're not hand signed, of course. Yeah. You know, they're made at that time.
But again, you know, I met Gene. I got his signature. He handed me that. I had that in lieu of a photo with him, I guess. But
sure.
So I mean, has some value. We talking tens, hundreds, what?
Probably 100.
Wow. You want it?
Sure.
We'll talk. We're gonna run. We got some dealing to do, everybody. And yeah, I don't want to talk about what Kevin paid for it. It had that value to him. It was worth it to me for him to have it. And so that answers the question. Hold it up one more time, because I got to say goodbye to it.
Yeah, well, I told you, you might have visitation rights.
Okay, good. I will come and visit. And maybe we can take a picture all together with the fan.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Kevin's a beast. The biggest fan I know, which is, he says he's low on the scale.
I'm a small fish, yes.
Thanks so much. If you run into him, you can ask him all kinds of questions about his Kiss stories. Let's talk again, my friend.
We should, yes. Thank you.
All right, see you later.